What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA
playoffs, Tuesday, June 29th.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made.
Okay guys, we have an NBA showdown between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks. So let's take a look at the point guard position. So Trae Young has an ankle injury and it looks kind of serious. So I'm going to stay away from Trae Young here tonight. And that's going to be a big boost for the other Atlanta Hawks on the team. So I'm going to skip Trae Young here. And I like Drew Holiday from the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Atlanta Hawks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Drew Holiday has averaged 36.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He scored 40, 38, and 59 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 41, 32, and 41 minutes. He's projected at 41.3 fantasy points here tonight, one of my favorite players on the slate, so I like Drew Holiday here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. I like Bogdan Bogdanovic from the Atlanta Hawks playing the Milwaukee Bucks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they give up the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. Bogdan Bogdanovic has averaged 28.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 21% usage rate. He scored 26, 17, and 18 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 35, 18, and 27 minutes. So I like to see that he played 35 minutes last game. He really hasn't played well so far throughout the playoffs, but he hasn't got a ton of minutes. Looks like he's fully healthy now. He's projected at 26.4 fantasy points here tonight, but he could break 30 fantasy points here and be a monster value play. So I like Bogdan Bogdanovic here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Chris Middleton from the Milwaukee Bucks, and Chris Middleton has averaged 36.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He scored 58, 36, and 32 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 42, 28, and 40 minutes. He's projected at 44 fantasy points here tonight, so I like Chris Middleton here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, another small forward that I like is Danilo Gallinari from the Atlanta Hawks. He averaged 22 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 24 minutes per game with a 21% usage rate. He scored 26, 13, and 9 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 35, 15, and 25 minutes. So I like to see that he played 35 minutes last game, and with Trae Young being injured or out or hindered, I think he's going to get the ball quite a bit in this game. So I like Danilo Gallinari here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Oh, he's projected at 26 fantasy points tonight, and I think just like Bogdan Bogdanovic, I think he can score 30 fantasy points or more in this one.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, No headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks, and Giannis has scored or averaged 53.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 33% usage rate. He scored 57, 50, and 71 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 40, 29, and 41 minutes. He's projected at 59.3 fantasy points here tonight, so I like Giannis Antetokounmpo here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Now, another power forward that I like, although he's fallen off a little bit the past couple of games, not playing as many minutes, but I still like John Collins from the Atlanta Hawks, who's averaged 31.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He scored 22, 20, and 41 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 23, 24, and 36 minutes. So we want John Collins to play at least 30 minutes in this one, and that's more of a possibility with Trae Young injured or out, and he's projected at 32.7 fantasy points here tonight. So I like John Collins here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Another power forward that I like, this is a value play. I like Bobby Portis from the Milwaukee Bucks. He averaged 24.2 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 21 minutes per game with a 21% usage rate. He scored 27, 18, and 21 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 16, 17, and 14 minutes. He's projected at 23 fantasy points here tonight, so he's not playing a ton of minutes, but he's a point per minute monster, so I like Bobby Portis here versus the Atlanta Hawks. And the other value play that I got for you is PJ Tucker from the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, he scored 19, 23, and 15 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 33, 26, and 34 minutes. So he plays a ton of minutes. He's just not super productive in those minutes, but if he can score around 20 fantasy points, that's good value for his salary. He's projected at 22 fantasy points here tonight, so I like PJ Tucker as a value play here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, moving on to the center position. This is another play that with Trae Young out, he could get more minutes and an increased usage rate, so I like Clint Capella from the Atlanta Hawks playing the Milwaukee Bucks. Clint Capella has averaged 40 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 20% usage rate. He scored 29, 10, and 44 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 27, 24, and 37 minutes. He's projected at 34 fantasy points here tonight, so I like Clint Capella here versus the Milwaukee Bucks.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.